on time. Yeah. Nobody's minding. Okay, it's time for us to get started. I appreciate if y'all just have a seat and we'll get started. I'm Donna Whitlock. I'm our Central City Neighborhood President. And last time we had our meeting, we voted in Hannah here, and she was out of town. She's our secretary. We have this Pier boy sitting over here, and she's our VP. So at this time, go ahead and get started, and the meeting is called to order. And we emailed out our minutes from the last meeting, so we can go ahead and put that up for approval if anybody wants to. Or somebody else can say. Okay. So we're good? Okay, great. All right. We have a couple of departments. I'm going to go ahead and let them get started. On our open reports, we've got Rev Birmingham with us tonight. We had concerns about or not concerns, some people reached out and wanted to know a little bit more about possibly changing the one-way streets and all. So I want to say thanks to Dave Fleming for coming tonight. Let him come up and speak for us.
Good evening, everyone. My name is David Fleming, and I'm the president and CEO of Rev Birmingham. If you aren't familiar with us, we're a nonprofit whose mission is to enhance the vibrancy of downtown and the Woodlawn neighborhood commercial district. I have worked in this environment and worked on behalf of downtown really probably for about 30 years now. Some folks I've seen for a long time, like Bobby, and I just love working on behalf of downtown. I did want to start by introducing you to someone who's going to be very important for our engagement in this community. That's Michael Sims. Michael is back there and with his hand up, waving, and I am really happy about introducing him. Many of you may have known Rob Leto, who worked at Rev Birmingham and was our city center district manager for a number of years. And Rob, you may know, was hired by Huntsville. He was hired away. Downtown Huntsville Inc. Hired him to be their CEO and president. So feel a little bit like Nick Saban, training somebody up, letting them, we get hired by the next big school. So I'm very proud of Rob and where he is now. But Michael is with us and joining us actually in his return to us. Michael was on our Zip bike share team. If many of you remember when we ran the bike share program, Michael worked on the Zip team. And so he was very familiar with downtown, and he's a resident of downtown. So he's a neighbor. He left us for a little while and has come back. And we're very happy to have him back because he knows us, he knows downtown so well, and very passionate about it. So his role is to be our really on the ground everyday liaison to downtown businesses, residents, work on those needs that come up on a daily basis, but also some long range, long-term things that we want to hopefully do to help downtown grow. As Donna said, she invited me because there was an article that circulated, got a lot of circulation recently that I penned about the time, or considering that it now would be a good time to really think seriously about converting many of our one-way roads downtown to two ways. I hope that all of you are registered for our blog posts and our social media and a number of the things we put out, but we've actually put out a number of things all the time that are ideas that are relevant to downtown, maybe things that news that is important. Sometimes we just do fun things like write about the Lynn Henley Historic Library. I was looking at Jim Baggett back there. We had a recent blog post about that wonderful treasure in downtown. So I hope you're getting all those articles. This one happened to get picked up and run by a lot of different places, which is good because we want people to hear about downtown issues. And really the heart of the article was that for almost all of certainly the 30 years I've been involved in downtown Birmingham, every expert on cities, every planner that comes to Birmingham, whether it's ULI in 2001, the 2003 master plan for downtown, the 2013 comprehensive plan for the city, the 2019 comprehensive downtown master plan for the Philip Morris Fund brought in Jeff Speck, the noted walkability expert. every one of those experts look at our downtown, they say, we have so many assets. You have this wonderful set of historic buildings, this wonderful grid pattern. But one thing that would help you a whole lot is to reconsider all of your downtown one-way streets. And if you go back in history, the reason why we have all these one-way streets is not because our city founders in 1871 said we need a bunch of one-way streets. No, they really created a bunch of wide streets to handle a lot of different things. They wanted to have handle horses, buggies, trains, trolleys, all those things covered our streets. It was a very multimodal environment until the end of World War II, when everybody was converting to cars. And then all of a sudden, the trend of very good, well-intentioned people was to say we need to move cars fast all the way through downtown. And so those conversions happened. And they were successful. They got people out of downtown fast. But nowadays, we want to keep people in downtown a little longer. We want to actually hope that they will stay, that they will feel more comfortable downtown. And I can tell you a lot of the feedback I got from that article was very positive. You always have people with lots of different opinions, and that's the point of putting those out there. But most people say, I can't tell how many times I've turned the wrong way on the street. I can't tell how many times I've been walking and been nearly hit by somebody who was zooming through downtown and turned either the wrong way or just wasn't paying attention to me as a walker. And even businesses that say my sidewalk cafes would feel more comfortable for people if we didn't have cars and that. So there are a lot of reasons to think about it. And you may be wondering, well, is this going to happen? Well, I can promise you there's not some plan that I know is sitting back getting ready to jump on everybody. This is really just a conversation starter, and hopefully the conversation continuer. I do believe that the city, overall would love to do that, but it's a very expensive thing to do, and it is certainly something that would have to happen well planned out over time. And it doesn't mean that every street that's one way would turn into a two-way either. It just, that would have to be really developed over time. I can assure you that Rev's goal is the vibrancy of downtown. We would want to do anything and advocate for anything like that if its goal and its result would be vibrancy and growth and healthy growth. So anyway, that's really the point of the article. Donna, I don't know if you want me to take any questions or anything, or I know you got a big agenda and I don't want to hog all the time, but I'm certainly happy to even talk about anything else I'm not going to talk about.
Anybody got any questions?
Well, on the question, but it's a little bit, I'll second it. So if you had a two-way street, with parking on each side, is that correct?
That would have to be all, Bobby, worked out in the process of the city's Department of Transportation working with the local community to decide what that needs to look like. I don't have a statement one way or the other to say, what it would look like, but
I just got a lot of restaurants now.
Depend on the parking.
We got to go through the construction. Just, say that you might be moving people out of there, but you also have the ways that we work out all the people in the park.
Yeah, all of that would have to be part of the consideration for any plan, I'm sure. How businesses get their goods loaded and unloaded, all of that, which is why I can tell you it's not something that's going to happen fast or immediately. I don't want to speak on behalf of the city who is here too, but I know that it would have to be well thought through, and I don't see it happening. Again, it's certainly because of the expense of doing it. It's not a cheap proposition to do it, so it would have to be done systematically, probably over a number of years. Just like this system was done over. They first started talking about it in the 1950s and it took into the 70s for them to get the current system converted to the way it is now. It took a couple of decades.
What's kind of the next near-term project for Red Room?
How long you got? That's right.
2 minutes.
Obviously, we're very happy with the investment made at 20th Street last year. We have got to work this year now to really sort of keep the maintenance up and do a lot of, so it's a lot of, that's not an exciting new project, but it is about sort of maintaining the quality of that and keeping it up. We have focused a lot on the Lynn Park. I think that's the next major sort of downtown civic space. It's of great importance to us. As you probably know, last year we went through a master planning process. Got a lot of public feedback on that. It was very positive, and we have a really good sense of what the community, the city, would like to see that space be. We're currently working through now what would that space, we kind of have a sense of what it costs to develop it, but the real importance is the sustainability. As you know, you can't just build something and not have a plan for keeping it maintained with a high standard of care over time and programmed appropriately. And that's the conversation we're having to have now before we kind of go back out in public. But it's our goal to work on that as the next big project. It'll probably take 2 to 3 years before. So we're very committed to that because it's an essential piece of downtown's infrastructure. If you think of it, 20th Street is a linear park really all the way up. You got City Walk on the other end. This one's right in the middle. So we really need to solve for that. So that would be a big part of it. We got a lot of other things going, but that's going to take a lot of effort, community support. The face is Don.
He's Don had talked about issues with restaurant parking, restaurants.
Yes, the enforcement, especially on 20th Street, as it relates to the flex lane developed, is really important to us. I actually might defer that question to the city's Department of Transportation, who's back there, because it really is an enforcement issue now. We certainly are advocates for it and believe that enforcement to keep people from parking is not intended to be a parking lot, as everyone knows. It is intended to be a flex lane that people can use temporarily to access businesses for their temporary needs, go in and get things and then come back out. So, or as a loading zone. So ultimately, I think that the city's Department of Transportation will be coming up behind me. Maybe she can address that a little bit more. But we certainly are advocates for enforcement in a way that will allow people to actually use it as a temporary. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
All right, thank you. All right. Okay, next, Miss Christina is up. He was right. This is Miss Christina Argo, and she's going to tell us about herself, what she does.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's nice to be here. I know, look at that. It's nice to be here with you guys. So I'll just piggyback on David's enforcement question. We know that we do have an issue with enforcement downtown where we're just kind of low on staff at the moment, but it is part of the puzzle of solving for, having ample parking for everybody and support for local businesses. So that kind of segues into what do I do for the Department of Transportation? And my focus this year, strategic projects and innovation, what does that really mean? So my focus this year is actually related to our parking system. So the parking system is a lot more than just on-street parking and police officers writing, or parking enforcement officers writing parking citations, but there's a lot more that goes into the mix of all that. And so we've got some ordinances and policies that need to be updated. And so that is one of my big tasks for the year. Right now, we're working on revamping the ordinance as it relates to private parking lots. You guys may have heard or seen some articles in the news related to some towing and some other actions that have happened on some of the privately owned parking lots downtown. And so we've put up some signs, and we're working to further refine that policy and make it very clear for folks who are parking downtown how they pay and what could happen if they don't pay. So in addition to some of the policy work, micromobility is under my purview. I know you guys probably have some questions related to that. And then we're also doing a lot of work around grants and all this federal money that's out there. So we, in fact, this afternoon had a strategic planning session talking through what are our next grant applications. We just won a $1 million Reconnecting Communities Planning Grant, which is really exciting. We partnered with the Transit Authority on that application, and so that's something we'll start work on in the near future. And it really is helpful because it ties our transportation system together. So the city's goals and objectives along with BJCTA's goals and objectives, helping us plan a better multimodal city. We just submitted a grant that is, I think the total funding source or funding amount came to about $30 million. And so it's a project that is focused along the 16th Street corridor in the Civil Rights District, and then connecting to the west to Legion Guild and implementing a trail connection that's part of the Red Rock Trail Plan. So that's a project we'll be hearing about hopefully this summer, and hopefully we'll be successful. But we've got lots of other things on our plate that we want to tackle. You know, Birmingham On Demand is also one of the programs I manage. So I don't know if you guys take advantage of microtransit downtown, and we just expanded into some nighttime hours. We have a new East Side zone, which has been very successful. So getting folks who live in the eastern area, you know, funneled into the BRT system, so the Birmingham Express, so they can take a ride in the east side, get to the East Transit Center, hop on that Birmingham Express bus and be downtown. And that's just kind of a general overview of kind of my little section of the Department of Transportation. You know, our department is responsible for not only just all these types of special projects, but we have a design division. So they are responsible for traffic calming initiatives, and they do striping plans and responsible for, I think y'all probably all heard about that, the $14 or $15 million restriping package or resurfacing package that, excuse me, we're going to be starting on, and they do all the design work related to how those streets are resurfaced and redesigned. And then, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but we have a shop on 6th Avenue South, and at the shop is all of our equipment that our teams use to fix street lights and signs, and we actually produced every single sign, traffic sign that gets put up in the city of Birmingham. So we have printing equipment and, you know, stop signs, street signs, all that kind of stuff gets produced over on 6th Avenue South. And I think I've covered the major divisions. So yeah, so if you guys put in a request related to, hey, the signal's not working, the sign is down, that gets funneled into our department, and we have teams that go out and take care of those requests. Yeah.
Thanks. Don't run away yet.
All right.
Just trying to stay.
No. Yeah, questions?
Yeah, questions? So, no work per se, but as far as thinking through what the future of the bridge is, yes, a lot of work. So we are looking to do a feasibility study in the next 6 months or so to see what could be the options for the bridge, as opposed, like, we know what it will cost to replace the bridge. You know, it's in the $40 million price range, but we haven't really looked at what some other solutions could be. If there's some ways we could retrofit without there, and you know, look at other options. You know, there's been a lot of talk around, could this be pedestrian only, or could it become a park? You know, so all those things are on the table, and hopefully we'll be able to have that assessment done and be able to make some decisions about the bridge.
I was fortunate enough, I got to go to the meeting at the Auburn Architecture School, and I guess it was the end, and then several students have done designs, and it was amazing what they come up with. It was a walk, and then have some commercial. I thought it was.
We partnered with them on that.
Yeah,
So they reached out to our department and said, we want to focus on project downtown, and we said we'd love for you guys to think about the bridge and what it could be. And it's, yeah, some of the stuff is like, wow, I don't know if we could ever make that happen. But there are pieces of all the projects that really could be implemented. And you know, thinking about how that bridge connects down to Morris Avenue and all the opportunity there is down under the bridge, you know, it could really be a cool project. So,
Any other questions?
Some of that, I'm like, alley, I grew up in alleys in a lot. Some of the alleys have some really bad. Is that something we talk about? That's what
so the best, I mean, you can call me, of course, you can call me, but the best way to do that is, you know, I don't know if y'all all have the new 311 app, BHEM 311. It's lovely if you could take a picture of it. It'll geolocate it, you know, and you can put in your requests, because those requests do come to our department, and we're able to compile, you know, our list. And, you know, typically the city has not prioritized repaving of alleyways, as everybody probably knows if you've driven down an alleyway. But I do think Not sure if it's this year or if it's next year that we are looking at doing a small portion of some alleyway repavement. So definitely put that request in. But yeah, in the meantime, certainly can patch. But I just wanted y'all to be aware that that is something to think about. So, yeah.
On the some administrative purviews parking downtown that falls under you.
Right.
I have a question.
Piece of it. Yeah.
Too much.
Sure.
I love it. Everything is going on. I think it's fabulous. Love the stadium. Love it. Love it. Love it. Listen, we need to understand why. Where we live, up on 22nd Street, my first area, there are tons of parking meters, and there are tons of tickets being given out, which is okay. Let's do it. When I come down here, I'm going all the way to the new area, there's no parking meters. They live here and we live here. Why do we have parking meters for them?
That is a good question. I'd have to look at some of those specific streets, but I do know.
Third Avenue, all the way this way.
Okay, I do know that we have not expanded our zones for metered parking in the last few years, and I know we have a lot of areas that are not covered that should be.
Any other questions?
That's right.
Did I
Piece of
bring this?
a puzzle that I'm tackling.
Or did someone say that we were trying to deal with that church that's on the corner so we can get a parking that thing? You know, one that's not being built, that was built with city money, you know, that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that?
Just referring to the Trinity site.
Oh, okay. Well,
Is there any chance we're gonna get a parking lot? Because, I mean, the stadium and all, the cars are up on everywhere during it, and it's, you know, more power to it. Let's do the stadium, but let's get a parking deck.
You want to tell them about the parking decks that are available at Caraway that are, help complement the adjacency?
yeah, absolutely. So from my understanding, the parking decks that are there on site are being reused and adapted to become parking for not just, the new mixed-use development, but will be used for all the other entertainment options on BJCC's campus. Yeah, soon. Yes. But yeah.
With regard to the church property, the city is taking legal action to, reclaim the title to that property, but it's going to have to be litigated.
Any other questions?
Good questions. Sure.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Hubbard-Jensen, and I'm pretty sure relatively. But one of the things that kind of included from Orlando to here that sort of shocked me to me is the lack of parking enforcement.
It is shocking.
People pretty much, homeless, shoebox, and people forever. There's a lot of focus on the fact that the private parking lots are actually being enforced by outside individuals. Why can't that similarly be done for the public?
It will. So the whole parking system that I referred to, that is a big piece of that system. And currently we have, I think we have 6 parking enforcement officers. We used to have 11. We actually need more than 11. So we have some gaps, and that is on the table for refilling and
There
moving
must
forward.
be to outsource it because the private seems to be able to do it.
I think that would be a little tricky just because private property is different from the public right of way. City owns the right of way, the streets and all that, and these parking lots are not owned by the city.
We can't make the tickets.
That's another piece of the parking puzzle. Do y'all want to come work with me over the next couple of years? I've got a lot of things to accomplish.
I'm sure we don't need to attack.
No. I'm being
fascinated. Wow.
No, I'm excited. I'm really excited. These are real problems that nobody has been able to tackle in the last 20 to 30 years. Parking is a broken system. We should be making money off our parking system, and we're not. So
I'll be honest with you, when I was working for the city of Orlando in 2003, people did the same thing they would do here, and then they started getting parking enforcement, and then the revenue, and people,
yeah,
understood.
accountability for tickets. It's a very complex system. I can't tell you how many times I've whiteboarded the system and tried to figure out where we're gonna start. And we have a plan, and it may seem slow, and it does. State legislature is a piece of the puzzle, but there's a lot of things we can do now and until we can get state legislature to help us. So
Sue has a question.
Yes, I'm going to bring up the dreaded scooters.
oh, good. Okay.
I almost got run over by one today on the sidewalk.
Okay.
Two teenagers, and playing what fence there, and of course they have their table out, and the sidewalk's set up as big, and they're flying down through there, and I had a little dog, and I turned around quickly, and there they were, and you know, they were just zooming on. You know, I just had to step out of the way. So, and then earlier in the week, they dropped off about 8 in front of our condos. And I called them about it, and I told them, I said, do not place those in front of residential places. They're dropped off everywhere. You know, you walk out your front door, and they're on the sidewalks constantly. And even it's busy down on 2nd Avenue, it's terrible. You can ask
So-
anybody. And they're not, there's no location for them. I mean, why can't they block them off in a spot that's designated for them for people to get them there, or make more spots? I mean, it's not the solution. It's been going on for, I think, about 2 years now, 3.
A little over 2 years.
Before in a while.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, ma'am.
we're going through the same thing. There's not a good solution.
Well, there are some things that we can do. Part of the problem is, let's go back to those one-way street, 2nd Avenue. You know, our city suffers from a lack of infrastructure that is not. We've been dedicating all of our roadways to the movement of cars and prioritizing the use of cars, and so our department is very focused on how do we become a more multimodal city, and so. As we do that, we're going to have some growing pains. We're going to have scooters riding on the sidewalk. I would love for them to be riding on the road, but I understand who wants to ride on 2nd Avenue when you've got cars driving 50 miles an hour down the road.
What happens if you get hit? Did I just sue you off?
If you get hit,
I'm just asking a question.
sure, I
Or do
guess,
I
I don't know. We'd have to,
Sue the scooter company, I mean, doesn't.
I would
it
think
say-
you would sue the user, the operator, but so something to think about here. As we are looking at deprioritizing car trips, every trip that somebody, or every scooter ride that somebody is on is one less car on the road. And I know it doesn't seem like much, but collectively over time, that really does cut down on the amount of vehicles we have on the road. As we begin to add more infrastructure, you know, bike lanes and wider sidewalks, that will also help. But there are some things that we can do in the meantime.
Well, these are teenagers, they didn't have driver's license.
Right. I'll look at 2nd Avenue and see if we can carve out some other areas as far as parking spots are concerned.
Y'all do have corrals designated for the stop.
They're still out there. There should be some on 2nd Avenue.
If y'all will close the corrals,
They don't park them in the courthouse.
goes back to insurance. But in Lakeview, don't they not cut off? Yeah.
There are some forced parking zones in the city, yes.
It used to be charged if you parked outside of it, or you weren't allowed to injure the scooter ride.
There are some areas that yeah.
That would be a suggestion. When I send out our minutes, I'll send her email address, and they can email you any other questions they have. So because we're gonna have to. Thank you so much.
If it's Don, tell Don I'll talk to him tomorrow in the office.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Okay, next up, we got Sergeant Poe's gonna come and talk. So if y'all got any questions, ask. I told them we would do gentle. Thanks.
Can everybody see me? Dispatcher. Good evening. My name is Sergeant Benjamin Poe. I'm up here at North Precinct. Little background about me. I recently got promoted over there. I've been assigned to North since August of 22. So all this is all relatively new to me about downtown. I came from East Precinct, so I'm really familiar with that area over there. I'm going to step into Captain Hank's shoes for a minute, so bear with me if I don't have a lot of your answers. I will not try to deflect. I will honestly try to get an answer for you guys. So I don't know if you guys understand or know that the police department transitioned for the most part for patrol into 12-hour shifts. So with that being said, my primary work hours starts now 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And there's basically 4 teams. So you have Team A and Team B. So Team A consists of a day and a night, Team B, day and a night. So there may be another time that we have one of these meetings that a different supervisor shows up, i.e. it may be the captain, it may be a lieutenant, but majority of the time we're going to get sergeants. With that being said, there's all kinds of bumps and bruises along the way with 12-hour shifts. The conduit of information doesn't kind of flow as effectively as it should, and we're working this stuff out because, like I said, we just transitioned to the 12-hour system back in September of 22. So with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and open the floor. I don't really have any knowledge of what's going on. This is kind of my opportunity to learn from the residents and the citizens here. So let's do this.
So I'll go first. So I live on 20th Street, Blacks, condo loft area there. And so we had a break-in or whatever, a month ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, where someone came in from Kessler. They have, I guess, share a walkway or some steps that they can get out for emergency purposes.
Okay.
But wasn't supposed to go through there, but they came in, I guess, on the 2nd floor or something like that. Went all the way up to the 4th floor, that's where we lived. And they started kind of going through handles and doors and stuff like that, and one was open. And someone was in there and they had a gun. They pulled a gun on these guys and they ran off. We haven't heard nothing from police as far as what happened, what their thoughts are, what they're doing about it.
Okay, so typically when an incident like that occurs, law enforcement should come out. They should speak to the resident owner at that time. A crime, so to speak, has not been committed. So burglary is you got to commit a crime therein. So if I walk by and pull your door and I encroach into your dwelling and then I don't commit a crime in there, it's just trespassing. I know that sounds crazy, but it is. Even if I walk into your house, that's just it. If I don't do anything else but walk in, it's just trespassing. Now, if I commit a crime therein, like assault or theft or things of that nature, that creates burglary, which is a felony, stuff like that.
They were very fortunate, I understand.
Yeah.
The man was asleep and forgotten to lock his door. Had a motion detector light when they walked in and then woke him up and he pulled the gun out. So they were very.
Yeah, that's an extremely scary situation.
Yeah, it could have been someone who was not armed and something could have happened. So that's
Right.
we got to figure out how to prevent
So
that.
policy for the city of Birmingham
And
and
my understanding though, really, is that the vault potentially has access to some of these rooms that they ultimately went through. So to me, the vault is ultimately responsible if they have that.
that's knowledge to me. I did not know that.
And so Don, I think maybe lives there, cares the building, plus he may know too, I don't know, but anyway. Point being is that my understanding is they have access to these rooms. These people were in there doing probably legal activity and somehow then decided to make it worse.
Understand. So for the law enforcement side, as far as like being in contact, for detectives or follow-up, things of that nature has to meet a certain criteria. It's just the way that our bureaucratic process is kind of set up, how the police department is laid out. So if a felony has not been committed, there is no follow-up from a detective bureau, such as crimes against property or things of that nature. The individual, the victim of the potential burglary / trespassing, if it doesn't meet the criteria for a felony, then there will not be a follow-up. It's just a misdemeanor, and that's settled. I know that's the way I put that today, kind of like the plays it, but unfortunately, we allocate resources and personnel that doesn't meet certain criteria for felony follow-up, then there won't be any follow-up.
Well, I think everybody in this room would agree that they would not like someone walking in on them while they're trying to sleep, 3 guys.
Yeah, but it's shot.
Right.
Did they have to drop inside?
So a brief overview for like standard law kind of ordeal. If someone encroaches in your area, right, and in your dwelling, the ultimate way to say this is you're in fear of your life wife, their kids, their wife. And at they shot these investigation would have been conducted. Majority of the time, they get to the ADAs up here in Jefferson County, and without the 10, just call it murder. Yep. That doesn't cross that. Just don't understand. I did not know that about that. That's interesting.
Yeah. But it should be looked into.
100%.
And we get your email or is there a way? Yeah.
Sure. I don't have, so patrol, yeah, patrol doesn't give out like cards or anything like that. I'll list my personal information on back here on the signage. By my city email and my personal. Y'all can call me anytime. I don't answer right away. So the first time where you guys are at. But I'll try.
The car ratings. We will read.
Sure. So the police department, North Precinct, and in particular, we've reallocated resources and come up with like strategic planning and how we're going to do things. So we have task force personnel that are out there dedicated to that. That's their sole purpose is that. We've also created like an unmarked vehicle that we're utilizing also in plain clothes. You know, they sit in these predominant areas that are being looked at for UDUs and things of that nature. There were 2 brothers that we actually arrested. I think they're being tracked down. But they were arrested. The problem with UDUB with Jefferson County, I was really honest about that. So the law states that if you break the claim, that is a felony. Jefferson County DA's office says you have to commit a crime there. So if I'm busting a window and I run through your car and I don't take anything, whatever that property damage is in this car. Right, so which makes that up? That's correct. They gave you discomfort. Yes. So
Like say this here because I know you probably don't know is that of course when y'all have been sending me videos and things, just let me tell y'all kind of because essentially we haven't met before.
Sure.
That Captain Hates, we've been sending him to him and we've opened up a report and what he has agreed to do. And Tom Moore stepped up to bat and to play like because he's very concerned because he lives down there too. And so his thing was that all videos and things we get, we send them to Captain Hates. And if somebody's arrested, he's going to reach back out to Tom with that name. When they get a court date, Tom will let us know so we can go be sitting in the audience and bring our concerns and fears. And that way they're more likely to not just be released at that point if we show up.
That's good. I did not know that information.
Yes.
Captain Hates does do a good job of disseminating information as far as like videos and things of that nature. Like I said, we have task force personnel that are designated to that on top of violent crime, property crimes, things of that nature. But we call this 221, this is our designated area for downtown right here. And it is a really hot zone for ADVs.
And I'm not going to put street art, and I'm not going to say anybody's name. Who is this kid, IG and IJ? He has hit every single downtown.
Say that one more time.
I think it's IG and IG, and it's the best one I can tell you right now is that parking lot in between Wildlife, I think, and whatever, in the day. The whole site, but he has hit every single garage door, everything. Do we not know who these people, is it not task force for graffiti that knows who these people are?
Not to my knowledge, okay. No, that's just brutally honest, not to my knowledge. Just that doesn't.
Know what that means. Not trying to look it up.
That's the first I'm hearing about it. So, you know, we prioritize our workload, violent crime, property crimes, things of that nature. So, unfortunately, due to resources, you know, that would probably fall way down here until we can get to it. I know I'm going to voice your concerns and your opinion to our personnel.
I mean, I live in the Cap District, they'll hang over and they'll take care of it.
Sure.
But all the other buildings that are not in the Cap District, it's hit like wildfire.
It's interesting. Do you notice like a pattern yourself? Like every Sunday there's new art.
No, not really, I don't know that, but he writes the same thing every time. And he's on south side, he's on north side, he's everywhere.
With the issues that we brought up, we'll be able to correspond with you and follow up on these and give us an answer.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right, thanks so much
Well,
for coming.
again, I'll be over here. I'll be here the whole time. Anybody wants to have some sidebar over here?
Great, thank you so much, appreciate you. Okay, at this time, we are going to have the, did y'all see that? He just committed a crime. Yeah. Only because everybody saw you. Okay, so next from the Birmingham Public Library, we have Jim Baggett, Jamie Van. It's gonna come up for a second. You gotta go? Miss Van, can we let the fireman know? Sorry.
We got a call.
Oh, you got a call, you gotta go, okay.
We're gonna run it. If we get time to come back, we'll be back. What time is this open?
7.
7 o'clock?
Yeah, okay, thank you, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay, Jamie, thank you. And we also have Ms. Williams with us too. Yeah, you're gonna speak after, okay.
Hello, I'm Janine Van. I'm with the Public Library. Nice to see you all here. I'll just go over a few calendar sort of thing that's happenings at the library in April. So April 6th, we're going to have a novel tasting. It's a fundraising event. You get to sample wines, craft beers, food, and music. I leave a few flyers you can just see. Pick it up. It's going to be on April 6th, 6 to 8:30 p.m. and Eric Essex is going to be here too. It's a ticketed event and the proceeds will benefit library. We do different kinds of programs and educational events for the community. April 7th, 9th, will be closed for Good Friday and Easter weekend. April is National Poetry Month, so it's a monthly event, beer tasting and a poetry. Well, it's going to be open mic in April, spoken word art, Bards and Brews on April 14th here at 6:30. On April 21st, there's a city employee event, which means that we will be closed. Well, it's like I'm running down the calendar. We have an exhibit going on right there. It's a Spider Martin, the famous photographer, and it's the event for, it's a photo for the Bloody Sunday event at Selma, Alabama. So the event is coming down on April 24th. So tell your friends, neighbors, coworkers if they're interested. It's sort of a visual exhibit. Oh, okay. There is another one on April 27th. There's a free concert here called International Jazz Day concert starting at 1 p.m. It's a Thursday, and we'll have food truck in the parking lot, and y'all are welcome to join. If you have any questions?
It's a pretty cheap ticket to go hear Eric Essex. Are y'all familiar with Eric? Thank you so much. Okay, next we got Ms. Williams coming, Velma Williams. She's from the Birmingham Police Department.
Good afternoon. I'm Velma Williams, and I'm the Crime Prevention Officer for the North Precinct. And I come this evening to try to give you some solutions to the crime issues that you were just previously discussing with the officer. We have a new program where your surveillance cameras can be connected to our department's real-time crime center. But if it is a Ring camera, you cannot do it, okay? But some of the other cameras can be. So there's information on the back table where you can pick it up and call and see if your camera is compatible. If you are a resident or if you have commercial cameras, that information will feed directly into real crime, which may help us to catch criminals early, okay? If it doesn't help us catch them earlier, at least it helps to give us a face for the break-ins, okay? Or a description so they'll kind of know who they're looking for. Because it's kind of difficult to find a ghost. So if you don't have a picture, you don't have a description, So those cameras could be really beneficial in crime what? Prevention. Okay, it's gonna take a minute, but we may be able to help alleviate some. Also, we're revamping our block watch program. Deputy Chief Sellers has asked us to look at our training, and what we want to do is to encourage each of you to consider being a block watch captain. The requirements to be a block watch captain is that you live on the block and that you are willing to look out for your neighbors. Now, that does not mean that we want you to infringe upon your neighbors' rights. But what we do want you to do is to try to get to know your neighbors so you kind of know their patterns. You kind of know who comes in and who goes out, so that when things look strange, you can call, okay? And say, there is a strange person hovering around my neighbor's door, and I know for a fact that they're in Dustin this weekend, okay? And so therefore you can get someone out because you've given them concrete information, and hopefully you can describe the person, all right? So block watch is neighbors looking out for neighbors and trying to help eliminate crime. If you put the signs up, the signs are a deterrent because they know somebody is looking, okay? Criminals don't want to be seen. When I came in this afternoon, there was a roll of those clear plastic bags, trash bags. Someone had left it on the walkway, on the breezeway. If you saw me when I came in, signed in, and turned around and went back out, by the time I went back out, they were gone. Just that quick, okay? A whole roll of trash bags. Now, to you, that sounds frivolous, but to a homeless person, trash bags are treasure, okay? So for your cars, if you have umbrellas that can be seen, if you have jackets that can be seen, on a cold, rainy day, that's worth breaking your car window out for, okay? So make sure if you have it in your car that it is what? Put away unseen, right? Remember, hiding spots, they know them. Do not leave your weapons in your car because they will take your weapon because they know where you hide them, okay? The third thing I want to share with you is our Community Police Academy, which is coming in April. And there are flyers on the table again about this. If you want to know how policing is done in Birmingham, this is an opportunity for you to go through some of the same training that our officers go through. Now, no, they're not going to teach you how to shoot a gun and all of that, but they're going to teach you policies, procedures, and how they actually interact with the public, okay? It's an opportunity for you to ask any question that you may or may not have had an opportunity to ask, the one that you have on your mind every month. And by the time you think about it, the officer is out the door. Okay. So this is a 10-week program. We do ask that you would consider making the commitment so you can learn more about Birmingham PD and its policing. Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns for me? Thank you. I made all 3
I know
minutes.
this group, some of them are right there.
Thank you. God. Mr. Baggett, are you speaking? Okay, you're just, okay, thank you. Okay, let's see, Aldot. Okay. Then, really, I want y'all to know, I did offer to scoot the firemen in early, and they said, no, they liked hanging out. They didn't tell me if they got an emergency, they were gonna have to leave, so I did try to get them up there early. Okay, we got Counselor Quinn, is here.
Good evening. Any questions that I can address right off the bat? While y'all are, go ahead. Go ahead.
We've done this before. We've talked about it. Fines for does inspections on the buildings that are being permitted. I was going to take, it's the Blair Building on Second Avenue. It's been under construction for 9 months. I don't know, I'll find out what the attention about it. But the problem is they put a dumpster on them. They also have all their building materials from in that dumpster. Plus they've got something else laid out there and you can't pick it up. They can't come in and do it because they've got stuff all around. Which inspector comes out of their office that permitted in, that comes in there and writes and applies the building?
Christina.
Is the dumpster on the sidewalk?
No, it's in the alley.
It's in the alley. Okay, well, we can look into that.
Yeah,
But my question is, who's coming out of their offices on a regular basis, looking at permitted things that have been permitted in the city of Birmingham, by the city of Birmingham, to make sure they're doing it, they're under construction correctly.
And several different departments that are involved, so.
I mean, that's an
so
income stream right there. That could be a $500.
Transportation is involved if it's involving a road or a sidewalk. But then there's a whole other division that comes out and inspects, you know, construction practices, and that's, in the PE department. But we can certainly look into that dumpster situation. They should have a program.
Every time somebody is permitted in the city of Birmingham, weekly, somebody needs to be out there making sure they're following all the rules you permitted them to do.
Agreed, yeah.
And they need to be fined, because that's the only way we're gonna stop it.
So, you know, I get out of my lane all the time and I get in trouble for it, but, you know, nevertheless, here I go. So my understanding is that on the construction projects, you know, there are different phases of the construction, and that the contractor actually schedules for a building inspector to come out and, you know, inspect work so that they can proceed on to the next, you know, thing. So it, you know, there's not a person who is just, my understanding is there's not a person who's just randomly popping in on projects, that those inspections are actually scheduled, you know, in concert with the people who are doing the construction.
I mean, we had 7 nails and tires, because that's our driveway. That alley is my driveway, so when we go through there, we're losing tires, they're just, and if you come at the end of their time, they've all cleaned up, everything's great for you to inspect so they can move on to their next job. It's in the middle when you're doing the job that it's the problem.
Yeah, so, you know, in those types of instances, I mean, our city staff really rely on residents and other stakeholders reporting those types of issues. You know, in circumstances like that, where it's a time sensitive thing, like the alley's blocked, you know, because of the dumpster, you know, I would encourage you to contact Birmingham Department of Transportation directly, because that's can be a risk for emergency service access and all sorts of other things. So that's a case where, you know, I think you wouldn't want to use the 311 app. Contact directly. So yeah, we're familiar. President Whitlock is, you know, had a long-running conversation about that. So. Yeah.
And they farmers. Then they go in and work during the night, and then they. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Okay. Yes. Mr. White, if you'll send me an email, got correspondence. You know my email. So anyway, send me an email up to transportation. I just did want to mention that headed to Washington, D.C. this weekend, and they're all next week. Meeting with Senators Tuberville and Congressman Sewell, and you know, one of the things that I'm specifically going to be asking Senator Britt for is a lot of Center bill, because it's about supporting the crime center, which is hopefully going to be most helpful tool to addressing some of the issues that you talked about earlier. But otherwise, you know, y'all haven't heard now natural resources, which represents about 25 municipalities across the states. So, again, my colleagues, Councilor Alexander, serving in leadership capacity in that organization. So, it's an effort to try and bring home the bacon. So, no other questions?
All right. James is here and
Donna, Community Resource Services was here earlier, but Alice Williams had to leave. So if there's any issues related to them, just let me know.
All right. By the way, I like bacon too, by the way, so make sure you bring it home. For the people who don't know, I'm James Sullivan. I serve as your school board representative for District 5. So the schools that we have in this neighborhood is Phillips Academy, of course, but for the most part, I just want to provide some updates and just some important dates for that's going on in Birmingham City. So, of course, you probably heard on the news that this week is our spring intercession. So, what intercession does is try to catch kids back up who are falling behind. As you know, we have some kids that are behind in Birmingham City schools. Spring break is the 27th. Also, I wanted to I just received this today. As you know, in Birmingham, we do have schools in our fleet. In 2019, we had 19 schools, 25 down, 13. Just received a notification that Brown Elementary is no longer on the code. This is a good report. Turn around. It's good. Take, of course, support from you all. I know I get a lot of times in Central City or downtown, we don't have any kids in the school system. But as you know, it's important because local tax dollars go to the school. So it's important that you stay engaged and of course support our schools. And I always say, I understand the private school, charter school, and all of that, but just if you have any kids or grandkids or relatives that you know in the area, just to give us a try, give us a chance, and then if we don't do what we're tasked to do, then I understand if you need to take your kids out of the school system. But I always think Birmingham City School first. One last update: Phillips Academy. We had the Miss Stacy Dean. She's the USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture. She's under the Secretary of Food, Nutrition, and Consumer Services. She visited Phillips Academy, like I stated, and what they were talking about was the importance of breakfast and how important it is for students to have breakfast. Unfortunately, we have students in our area who don't eat breakfast, and they depend on the school to eat. So some of the things that we know is when it comes to reaching higher levels of achievement in reading and math, breakfast is important. We know that they will be able to score higher on standardized tests, have better concentration and memory be more alert. And the last thing is maintaining a healthy weight. And lastly, before I go, because I know we're in the time crunch, but we are moving forward with a BCS digital report. web address is successwithbcs.com. So if you're interested in receiving updates, of course, I'll send updates via email, and of course, I'll come here to give an update. But that's pretty much it. I just want to open up for questions. And again, it's good to be back and good to see everybody as well. Any questions for the Birmingham City School System? Hopefully I can answer. That's key. All right, I just think it's important to show my face here and let y'all know what's going on with the school system, okay? If y'all have any questions, I think everybody has my contact information, right? So if not, President Whitlock, I can get that. Thank y'all.
He's done a tremendous job, sir. Thank you so much. I see some new faces, so if you're here for the first time, please raise your hand. Thank you. So this is exciting. We're growing in numbers. And please make sure that you sign in the back. I think we ran out of space, but just go ahead and write your information in, please. And yes, we can. Any new business before we go? Motion that we adjourn. All right, then we're adjourned. Thank everybody, and you're out on time. And in our, if you don't get the minutes, please reach out.
I'll be there.
Okay.
And the weather.
Last time I got water, so that's what
It's gonna be beautiful, that's why that's why we're gonna go over.
I hate not to go when it's pretty.
I know, and I think it's nice showing all those windows and stuff to see that. So yeah, we'll work on it with their customer service, but, you know, I've been there a time or two aside from that, they just can't. It's a great location, and a beautiful place.
And you know, they have happy hours, so the drinks are like half price.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, adios would be an option too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We don't need that.
I want to go there. I love it. See, I love tequila.
Me too, that's my favorite alcohol. See you.
I'll
reach out to you.
So it's not a construction, it's,
No, it's their regulation. This is all construction stuff. That's a big booth.
It's another piece of the puzzle. Yeah, the state allows us to boot cars, and it's in our ordinance. The problem is we have a very small enforcement staff, so we've got to get permits. I don't know about the outsourcing fees. I'll have to find out about that. They can. We've got to change. They can boot into, but we've got to change the ordinance. We have the statewide legislation to do that. That's the next thing. Yeah, it's gonna be happening.
Yeah, and they had it.
Nobody's really dug into this.
I learned about it, how money was there.
Oh, yeah.
So,
So, yeah, absolutely.
people wouldn't wheel.